Well, here we are again. It's week 20, Instant Value Handicapping. We've been doing this for 5 months or so, since January, and we dug a little hole for ourselves in the first 7 weeks at Gulfstream Park. We had a negative ROI of around 30%, even though we did a fantastic job of identifying false favorites. So the goal is to identify false favorites 75% of the time or more. So instead of getting beat by the favorite 36% of the time, 38% of the time, you're getting defeated by the favorite less than 25%. At Gulfstream Park, where we didn't do so well, we identified false favorites 79% of the time. So we did very well at that. At Evangeline Downs, where we are returning to this week, we have exceeded that number. The false favorites we've identified have lost 81.8% of the time. That means that you are betting into races where the favorite wins only half as much as usual. So, instant value handicapping. This is the place where the favorite doesn't beat you, you beat the favorite. It's week 20. We are coming down the stretch. We've turned our negative 30% ROI almost positive. This week, it's do or die week to see if we can get past that even point and into a positive ROI. We have 4 races at Evangeline Downs, and boy, this is exciting. Let's go to the races. We have 4 races to look at Evangeline on Wednesday, July 7th. We're going to start with race 2, where we have a false morning line favorite, number 6, Custom Gulch. Morning line is 9-5. We're going to look at a couple alternatives here too. Number 5, Totally Grace, and number 7, Bird Cat Mouse. And if one of those is scratched, we'll throw in number 1, Carandale. So the favorite, Custom Gulch. Why is this horse a false favorite? 1 for 12 lifetime. Very slow out of the gate. So every distance is kind of the wrong distance for this horse. He just cannot get up in time. Managed to do it once by half a length. Last time out, the distance for this filly was too short, 5 furlongs. But it just doesn't seem to matter. 5 furlongs, 6 furlongs, 7 furlongs, always late to the dance. So we are going to look at number 5, Totally Grace, as an alternative, 2-1 morning line. She's the second choice here. She has the same problem, in a way. Not getting out of the gate isn't her problem. She gets out really well, but does not hang on very well. 1 for 10 lifetime. But she was claimed 4 races ago by a very sharp claiming trainer, Eduardo Ramirez, and he's willing to give her one more chance here at the $10,000 level, so we're willing to give her one more chance too. She'll have early speed, she'll be out there. There's a jockey who's very good at rationing early speed, and not a really strong field for a $10,000 claimer here, so we like her as one alternative. Our other alternative here is on the outside, Bird Cat Mouse. Bird Cat Mouse was our choice last week in a $5,000 claimer, was scratched out of that race. The trainer comes back here and prefers to put her in a $10,000 race. That's quite a confident move. He looked at that $5,000 level and said, no, this horse is better than that. We're going to agree with him. Coming out of a $10,000 maiden win, which she just barely won. But again, this $10,000 non-winners 2 lifetime doesn't come up real strong. We like the sharp maiden winner coming right back to face non-winners 2 lifetime. And if one of those alternative bets is scratched. We're going to go for Carondelet, the one horse. This horse hasn't tried all that many times at this level. Last time out, ran a mile on the turf. Switches from turf to dirt after showing early speed in that longer race. So that looks like a good conditioner. We'll use her only if one of our top 2 selections is scratched. That's what race 2 looks like to us. Race 3 presents our second opportunity of the day at Evangeline. This is a 5 furlong race on the turf. And as such, the recommended bets here are for turf only. If the race comes off the turf to the dirt, all bets are off. We've got a false morning line favorite, number 3, Due for a Date, 2-1. And we're going to look at 2 alternatives here. Number 1, Wild Mallory, and number 5, 10 Count Out. So, Due for a Date. This horse, 6-year-old mare, is 0 for 4 on the turf. She has 5 wins lifetime. None of them are on the turf. Her 3 turf races last year at Evangeline didn't produce anything of note. She had a 2nd place finish in the slowest of those 3 races. Does not really seem to like the grass very well. The reason I think she's here is because she's failed at this level on the dirt at a couple different distances. They're trying this and crossing their fingers, hoping they don't have to drop her into a claiming race. They're going to see if they can find some hidden magic here on the turf. I don't think they will. So we're looking at 2 horses here as alternatives. Number 1, Wild Mallory gets the leading ride at Diego Sainz. She ran on the turf last time, finished 2nd, but faded badly from first by a head at the top of the stretch to 5 lengths back at the finish. But she was involved in a real knockdown, drag 'em out pace duel in that race. So the fractions were really fast. She couldn't hold on late. But this is a 2nd try on the turf at this distance recently. I think if she gets a little bit less pace pressure, she'll hold on here. But just in case she doesn't, we're going to also place a wager on 10 Count Out. 10 Count Out hasn't run on the turf for quite a while. Just reeled off 2 wins at 5 furlongs on the dirt, 1 at 5, 1 at 5.5, pulling away in both cases, and was claimed the 2nd time. The new trainer puts this horse on the turf, which I think could be a brilliant move here. That breeding is there for the turf, and 1 for 9 lifetime on the turf with quite a bit of lifetime earnings on the grass also. So I think this guy saw an opportunity here to take a $5,000 dirt horse and turn her into a $10,000 turf horse. I like the move. That's our 2nd pick here against a very vulnerable favorite in race 3. Hey, I'm going to remind you to hit like and subscribe early this week instead of at the end, right here in the middle, because we have Mark Kramer coming back to join us next week. Mark and I are going to do a segment called The Slow Train to the Travers. We're going to look at all the prep races leading up to the Travers Stakes at Saratoga in August. We're going to get Mark's take on these contenders moving towards the big summertime version of the Kentucky Derby, essentially. It'll be pretty interesting because Mark is more of a long shot player than I am, and so he's going to have a very different perspective on these races than I do. So for those of you who like lower price, consistent results, I'll be there to kind of throw in that perspective. Those of you who like to search for long shots, Mark will be there to offer his views. So hit subscribe, don't miss it. Coming up, starting next Friday, July 16th, we'll be looking at the Haskell Stakes at Monmouth. Mark Kramer coming back. Race 4, Evangeline. We're just lining them all up. Race 2, 3, 4, and 5. So race 4 also has a false morning line favorite, number 8, Silver Maid, 8-5. Last time she ran was June 9th, and on that day, she was a selection of mine, an alternative selection against a false favorite in that race. She was dropping from $10,000 maiden claiming level. She'd run in a $5,000 level at a mile, which was the wrong distance, showed a good early speed in that race, and was coming back to a sprint. Everything looked great, and she turned in a real clunker. So that's two big fades late in races at $5,000. Does not look like she's ready to pop and dominate at this lower level. Looks more like she's getting ready to dwell here for a while. So we're off the Silver Maid bandwagon, and we're looking at two possible choices against her here. Number 4, Daring Darian, and number 5, Toshida Forever. Daring Darian, the tongue-twisting alternative here, is running for the second time at this level. Her first try was in a 5 furlong race. This is a horse who closes late. 5 furlongs was completely the wrong distance. It's probably just a prep race off of a long layoff to get her little wind in her sails. She now runs in a more appropriate 7 furlong distance, and like her chances better here because of that. So that's alternative number 1, and right next to her in gate number 5 is alternative number 2, Toshida Forever. She has never run at this low a level. She's been running in mostly maiden $10,000 claimers and kind of splitting the field. Not totally hopeless at that level. I think the drop in class here will move her up considerably, and she's our second choice against Silver Maid, the false favorite, in the 4th. And in race 5, we finally get a favorite worth betting on. Number 2, Bernie Special, 2-to-1 morning line favorite, is our strongest favorite of the day. So this is not a favorite we're betting against. This is a favorite we're going to bet on. Our place bet strategy here, betting the strongest favorite of the day, is now 7 for 7. It's we've only done it twice here in the video series. We've done it 5 times on the weekend and midweek false favorite reports that we put out on our website, lazybettorusa.com. So we're batting 1,000 with these 7 for 7. We're going to go for 8 in a row here on Bernie Special. He's finished second 4 times in a row, and usually that's a signal for me that the horse needs to drop out of the current level that he's running at. And I don't like to bet on horses who come up short that often, especially consecutively. However, this is a 5 furlong turf race, and he's only come up short in that scenario once. That was the last time. He ran into trouble, was steadied along the rail, and showed a new side. He's kind of a presser, forward-running horse. They put him on the turf. He broke 7th. Made a late run, which is great turf running style. Ran into a little trouble, and that too is unusual because leading rider Diego Sainz was aboard, who's like a 24% winner on the turf. So we like that effort there, and with a clean trip, we see him getting home on top, at least for second. It looks like a pretty solid place bet. So we're using $100 hypothetical bets for all of the races that we mention here. So $100 a place, Bernie Special 2-to-1 in the 5th. Let's go. Thank you for watching this week. Hit like, hit subscribe to be sure that you catch Mark Kramer coming back to review the Travers prep races and the Travers with us starting next week, July 16th. Also, we'll be putting out false favorite reports for Emerald Downs every Saturday now, starting this Saturday. So be sure to check lazybettorusa.com for that. Catch you next week.